Step inside the Strength Barracks podcast. The intersection of perspiration and inspiration is our training ground. Join us as we journey with elite athletes and everyday individuals, unearthing the stories and strategies that can unleash the potential within us all. This is your gateway to the ultimate audio arsenal dedicated to strength, resilience, and the unyielding quest for self-improvement. Okay, welcome back to podcast number, who cares? Me and my wife Peggy are finally doing one.
Hello.
Really excited. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I've been wanting to do this since you started them.
Well, today's the day.
I had to let it be your idea, I guess.
Oh, it was your idea?
Yeah.
All right. So we got questions. We posted some storyboards for people to ask us questions. And we got some pretty good questions on fitness, but then a lot of business related ones too. So that's cool. So I'll just start us off.
Sure.
The first one.
Yeah.
The first one is, how do you spend so much time together? I guess they're meaning because we both
Work
see each
together.
other, work all day, and then go home.
Well, for me, it's you have your things and I have my things that we know we have to do and get done. And we don't really talk to each other that much during the day. Do you think? In passing.
Yeah. But I mean, mine's a little simpler. It's like we actually like each other.
Oh, that is true.
Like,
I do like you a lot.
Like we're actually best friends, so it doesn't.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of people can relate to that though.
No, I mean, I have a few friends that are married, and that's something they said they would not be able to do is work with their spouse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because we're best friends, I think it just comes naturally.
Well, I don't want to say naturally. It's still hard.
I mean, there's days when it's hard.
I mean, it's not like all. We're not just like goofing off all the time. Then.
No, and it's not like a job where in the morning I get up and say, "Oh God, I just don't want to go do that."
No, I'm actually excited when I get up in the morning.
Yeah. Not everybody gets to work with their best friend. Yeah.
And I also, you know what else I don't notice that I don't care about anymore? I don't care what day it is.
True.
No day really matters to me. Like they're all just like there's no Monday. Like I don't really.
No, I agree with that during the week, but on Saturday, I do know when it's Saturday.
No, but you're looking forward to that day. It's never like a negative.
True.
Like for most people, it's like, oh fuck, it's Monday, and I don't really have that anymore.
No, I don't either.
I don't have it's only Wednesday, or you know what I mean. It's just everything. I'm excited for each day.
Yes. Working and having your own business is hard, but it's also very rewarding in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you work harder for yourself because it's up to you if you fail.
Right.
So I think you work harder than you would for somebody else.
Yeah, and I feel like this question was more meant for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, because that's not like a guy question. Guys don't get pissed when they hang out with their own wives. That's more of a thing that women can't get past. Or
I think for a lot of women, I don't think it's for.
Yeah, I'm not saying all women.
Right.
A lot of women. How do you prioritize fitness and business? So I don't know. I'm not going to speak for this person, but I think they meant like how do we put such a high emphasis on our fitness goals plus running a business company? I think is what I don't know. That's what I want to go for anyway, because that's the.
Well, I mean, we're very blessed to be able to work in the fitness industry. And because we both love fitness. I mean, you brought me to fitness and
you stole it.
I did steal it. I loved it. I mean, I think I've competed in powerlifting more than you have.
Total comps, yeah.
But one of the ways that I prioritize it, I can't even say that word. Prioritize it is, you know, I have the set group time that I work out, and I try to make those because, you know, the group feels like I'm the coach, and so I feel like they depend on me, and it makes me accountable. And of course, I want to be the best out of everyone. So it's also that competitiveness in me. But there are times when I don't want to do it, but I know there's other people that, you know, depend on me, and I enjoy working out.
Right.
I enjoy the benefits of working out.
So I think, you know, in order to do this successfully, you have to make the correct sacrifices at the appropriate time. Because you have to, well, you can't have two priorities at the same time. You can't have two number ones.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying that, like, there is sacrifices you have to make, depending on what that next goal is. That next goal could be grow the company's revenue, or that next goal might be a competition. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But one is always going to be a higher priority, and you always have to. You have to give something up and able to get something better.
Right.
You know, which is the whole. You're sacrificing by prioritizing. So, you know, for like a really simple example is when you compete, or actually it goes back further than that. When I first opened the gym, that I didn't ever get to compete after that. I tried a couple times, but there's just no way, because you can't prioritize your athletes and yourself at the same time.
Oh, that's just
right.
Double work for you.
And well, because if I prioritize my own, then they're not going to get the level of service that they should be getting. So
correct.
Which is, I'm not complaining about that. I actually like watching other people compete now than I ever enjoyed it. But also, like, when you compete, make sacrifices so that you're prioritized.
Right, because you're my coach.
Right. But just in other stuff, like making sure your food is right, like, you know, all the other things that lead up to a competition. Anybody that's ever competed kind of understands all the. It's not big stuff, but it's all the little things in the background that somebody else is taking care of for you.
Right.
And then also, like, you've sacrificed for me so that I could step up and grow the company and take it other places. Right. You know, so there's what I mean is, like, there's always that prioritization is always give and take, a sacrifice for one person or the other.
Definitely. You know? And it's not something that you and I,
in a good way.
Right. In a good way. It's not something that you and I really have to talk about. We just kind of know, I guess, through the years, what my job is and what your job is, you know, when things like that come up.
I agree. That we've always handled pretty intuitively.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
Yeah. So one of the questions were, how did you finally switch the part of you that was very serious on the outside? Because you seemed angry and moody, and one of your nicknames was Grouchy Randy.
That was the best they could come up with. Was Grouchy Randy.
They're all scared of you, so they're not gonna be like asshole Randy. Like, I can say that stuff, but they're not gonna say that stuff. And they could just tell, you know, before just your mood. They'd be like, should I not talk to Randy? So they would ask me questions. And so then I would ask you their questions and take the brunt of your moodiness, so to say, which is fine because I can take it. But you've made that switch recently in the last 6 months, and like, how did you come to the realization? Because I think I brought it to your attention before, but it never really clicked.
Right.
Where now you are more conscious of it.
Yeah. So, well, let me back up. So I wasn't grouchy, or I didn't have that like serious face or whatever you want to call it. Because I was pissy. I'm very passionate about stuff, and so
yes,
when I'm passionate about in that area, it takes control of your emotion. And then what also I wasn't realizing is it showed on my face, not just in the way that I talk with a short answer or a comment. It was more about like my overall countenance, I guess you would say. So it was never that I was mad at the person or that I didn't think they were good, or it wasn't anything like that. It was just me that I was passionate of, like, if I know I can get more out of you and you don't give it to me, like, I get mad.
I've been there.
And that doesn't make you that doesn't make that person wrong though either.
Right. Because you want them to do better.
It's my job to get 100% out of them, but they're by no means obligated to give me 100%.
Right.
And then, when I remember the conversation. I don't even remember like what verbiage you used that made it click. But I had to like step back and kind of re-examine if I'm trying to help everybody, or I'm trying to help at 100%, but I'm pissy all the time. How effective am I really?
Right. Because some people shut down.
Yeah.
When they think somebody's mad at them.
Right.
Or they're afraid to ask questions.
And then also too, it's like, well, I mean, military background, you grew up as Army brat. Like we talk to each other just a certain way, and it's normal.
Yes.
And the fact that I was in so long that I never kind of lost the way that we just talk to each other.
Right.
And so we're always cussing or saying something negative at each other, but we're not actually mad at each other. We're like, hey, fucker, that's just like a normal thing.
Right. And I think that's the way men communicate to each other. A lot of women can't take that.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah. And I'm not saying that was 100% of what was going on. Because it wasn't. That played a very, I would say, a small 10 to 20% role. But no, really what made it click was if trying to help people at 100% ends up being grouchy, that's actually counterproductive to what I'm trying to do. So if that person is only going to give me 20% that day, then that's okay. That's 20% that I wouldn't have gotten. So I had to quit trying to get perfection out of everyone and just get what they were willing to give me that day. Because at the end of the day, as long as that person takes one step forward, they made progress.
Right.
And then also I realized too that it was affecting the growth of everyone else, like our employees, our senior gym members. So by me not trying to get everyone to produce at their highest level, that was also stopping them from growing and learning new things.
Right. And I mean, one of the things that I would always notice right away is if you came in and people thought you were grouchy, then they didn't ask you questions. The whole mood of the group changed, not just...
That's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
But it took me up until 6 months ago to learn to use it to my advantage. I don't know. I think they have a word for it. They call them like high vibrational beings. But when I walk into a room, like people's moods either go up or down.
Right.
And I was not cognizant of the fact that for a lot of the time, I was affecting the entire frequency of the room in a negative way. And then I had to kind of like sit with that. So a lot of stuff that, that I work on is to, if I have that power, then use it in a positive way. Don't bring everybody down. And sometimes I'm not trying to. Sometimes I'm just walking to the bathroom. But and it's that innocent. But if I have that look on my face, the whole room just gets wrecked.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it's a blessing and it's a curse.
And you're not normally a very talkative person, and we have some chatty catties. Chatty Cathys? Chatty Cathys?
Cathys. You always thought it was about golf, caddies?
I thought it was about the nickname.
Who's drinking here?
Yeah. I can smell it, though. I might be getting some fumes off that. They like to talk, and they like the workouts, but sometimes it's also their social hour, which I think we've, have done a good job of incorporating that, especially in this space. People are more relaxed to have a good time, and I think, with your mood being positive has helped a lot with that.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, which there's a question on here that we get into this, but it's it's ultimately what kind of culture I want to have at the end of the day.
Right.
And my attitude or mood at any time should not ruin the culture of. It shouldn't be counterproductive to the culture that I'm trying to grow, that we're trying to grow. So stepping back, and understanding everybody uses the gym for different reasons. There's not a...
Yes. What was the question leading into? What was the next question?
I don't know. Let's see. Actually, it's the next question. Oh. Yeah. How do you both run a company together all day and not kill each other?
Well, there's times. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can sense when you don't want to talk, or if I ask you a question, you give me a look and I know, like, I'll do later. I'll come back later. Or I know it's something that I just need to take care of myself. I can make that decision without asking you all the time. Kind of like, with our employees. We finally had to tell them, like, okay, you can make some of these decisions on your own. Right. I don't have to be, consulted with every detail.
Right.
And so we have learned to do that with each other, I feel like.
Yeah, but it's a process, though.
Oh, it's definitely.
I mean, there's a step by step, and I think because there's a lot of married couples that own a small business.
Yeah,
and they either one ends up stepping away from the business, or they fight all the time while they're trying to run their business, and it's just because they don't know the processes to put in place for it.
What are the
so like
processes?
me and you, we understand our roles.
Yes.
So like your role is different than my role, and we both know that because we talked it out and covered it. We both know our goals. Yes. So we're always fixated on that next goal, or the next 6 goals, whatever they are at that particular time. The other thing that we understand is that we both have the vision. We both know what the vision for the company is.
Right.
So then we can work to each other's benefit without smothering each other all day, because as you said, like, you have stuff that you're doing and I have stuff that I'm doing.
Right. I mean, he finally put me up in the office with him.
And I get no work done now.
That's not true. I mean, I do talk a lot, but I think he thought I was going to talk more. But he has headphones that he puts on, and
I don't want to wear it.
But you do.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back, like some of my responsibilities that are different than yours is my responsibility is to grow the company.
Yes.
To handle marketing, to build and handle the brand, to grow the culture, attract talent, which it's everyone's job to attract talent, but that's still one of my main priorities. Nurturing employees, growing them into the next, position that we can. And the biggest thing, which is the hardest because it requires a lot of faith and buy-in, is constantly driving the vision of the company, like where we are ultimately trying to go.
Yeah.
And it sounds easy. It sounds like it's just like, oh, you post a mission statement and you're done. But you can't. You have to. The vision has to be big to get people to buy in, because they have to be excited to want to be a part of it.
Right.
But it's always this like dynamic boulder that you're trying to get your hands around, in a good way though.
Yes.
Because if the vision is right, you're never going to catch the boulder. You're just always, bobbling it one step behind it.
And we live
that means
our mission.
That means you're going though.
Right.
The other thing too is like I am ultimately responsible for a missed goal or a made goal by the company, regardless of who or what.
Right.
And I think a lot of married couples that own businesses, you can't split failures or mistakes. Like at the end of the day, one person has to take the hit for it.
Right. And I'm glad it's you.
Yeah. No, and that's fine. But it's much easier for one person to take the hit and say, okay, how can we do this better next time? Or how can we move on from here? Than two people butting heads over whose fault it is or whose fault it wasn't.
Right.
And going nowhere. Because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I fucked up, you fucked up. How do we solve this and get back on track? Yeah.
Right. And I think also being able to move on is hard for couples. Like, for instance, if you get upset with me because I bothered you or something, I can let it go. I can brush it off my shoulder, where there's some people that they don't have that in them.
Yeah.
And they hold on to things, and they hold on to emotions.
Right. But those are also the same people that it would do them a lot of good to work on their emotional IQ, because then they would actually be able to move past those barriers.
Right. I think it takes a certain maturity to do that. Like you said, I was raised in a military family, and I've owned other businesses, right. And I think that has a lot to do with it also.
Oh, definitely. And the gym business is hard. It's not an easy business.
No.
Like, having a little niche gym, yeah, that's one thing. But just overhead and the amount of people, clients, customers, everything's crazy.
Yes.
And nothing really makes sense in the gym industry.
No.
There's no template. Do you have another one?
What?
Do you have another one? Or are we good on this one?
No, I'm good on that one.
Okay. This ought to be a good one. She's hesitant.
Well, they wanted to know if we ever do anything fun. Do we, do stuff outside?
No.
The gym. Rarely, but we do have fun. And that's something I think that we need to work on as a couple, to incorporate fun and socializing outside the gym with our friends, even if it's...
I think making money is fun.
Making money is fun, but you have to incorporate some kind of fun into your relationship.
Well, here's my thing on it. I don't think your relationship should be anti-fun, but if you enjoy what you're doing, like I was saying, I don't care what day of the week it is. I don't care if it's Monday or if it's Friday.
Right.
So I'm not having a bad time. Now, does that mean every moment of every day is awesome? No. But I don't feel like I'm missing out on something because I would rather do bigger things.
But I think we incorporate some of our, what they call fun time, into our business.
Oh, agreed. As you should.
Yes. Like we have some outings, some happy hours at the gym, a Halloween party.
Right. And a lot of times we go play, like we'll go to Miami, but it's work/fun.
Right.
It's not, you know what I mean? You can network, do business, and have fun at the same time. It doesn't always have to be.
Yes, and I think we incorporate that a lot into our relationship. Neither one of us are people that want to go to the bar on the weekends, or, you know, we have different priorities, like you said.
Yeah. And I think I have a different, I'm not so fixated on fun, just because right now, at the particular time and juncture of my career, time is not on my side. So I'm more fixated on getting what I can get done now in the next 5 years, so then it can open up to do whatever we want any day, you know, not always being dependent on.
Right. I think this person just wanted to know, you know, do we have fun? Is it always work and business and seriousness?
No, but.
And what if one couple work together all the time and one of them wants to get out and socialize and the other person, I mean, I think you just have to make compromises.
It comes back to that sacrifice or compromise for your goal, like whatever's the most important thing at the time. But I don't think most people understand how much you work when you are a business owner.
Right. If they don't have a business or ever had a business.
Yeah. Like a 14-hour day is an easy day.
Yeah.
Or an average day.
Right.
I mean, they don't realize my schedule for 2 years at the old gym was up at 5 a.m. clients, and we didn't get done with group till 9 p.m. that night.
Right. And I was being a nurse at 5 a.m.
Right.
Getting home, going to the workouts. Yeah.
So that's the stuff people don't see is like the sheer amount of hours, to run a profitable company now. It's crazy, but I have fun.
Yeah.
I think we have fun.
But I think to answer that question is we incorporate fun with our business.
I agree. Yeah, I would 100% agree. Yeah. Find ways to do all of it, and then you have to do less of it.
Right.
That's a good quote.
Make sure you write that down.
I will.
I have to write everything down because I can't remember shit anymore. I'm always looking for my phone or my keys.
Or Chopper.
Oh, yeah, Chopper. Well, everybody in the gym's always looking for Chopper because she's got a little dementia going on.
A little.
At 17 years old. I mean, could you imagine being literally, she's over 100 years old.
She's 100, what is that in dog year? 119?
Yeah, and then dealing with Freya, that's still a toddler.
All Freya does is check on her.
Well, she also does pick on her sometimes. Yeah, you don't see it, but she does.
Yeah, just like you don't see him snuggling when no one's around.
No, I haven't seen. Oh, I've seen it once. I think I had to take a picture to believe it.
Here's one. How do you decide who does what in the business being married?
Well, I just let you tell me.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people don't believe probably this, but I like you to tell me what to do.
Yeah, but that's because you're a strong woman.
I am a strong woman, and
weak women don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, the same is true for guys too. But I think So again, I answered this in the total business mind because that's just where I'm at.
Right.
If you're married and you run a company, you don't get to pick and choose what you want to do.
No.
You have to do stuff that complements each other. So, for example, if you picked what you wanted to do and I picked what I wanted to do, probably 40% of things would not be getting done.
True.
You know what I mean? Because neither one of us would want to do it, and so it would fall through the cracks.
Yes.
So, yeah, you don't get to pick and choose what you want to do. You do things that, at least if you want to be successful, you don't pick and choose. And like I was saying, like skill sets are picked by which ones complement each other. So you're going to do some things that I suck at, and I'm going to, and vice versa.
Right.
But then there's also things that I do that I still have you look over or get input on.
Right.
So sometimes a lot of like message traffic I will have you read, because if anyone has ever got a text or email from me, you know that like my tone is like I have no sense of tone.
Yes.
And that's not because I'm an asshole. I mean, I am an asshole, but
you're not.
That's from brain injury. I don't sense tone in words and sentences.
Well, and a lot of people don't know that you can't hear very good from a bomb. So if they're talking to you and you don't respond, they don't realize that you didn't hear them. They think you're being an asshole.
Yeah, because I couldn't see their lips.
Right.
And so.
Because my mom does that to you all the time.
Yeah. But to be fair, nobody can understand your mom.
I can understand my mom. Most of the time.
So yeah, deciding who does what, if you want to do it as a married couple and be successful, don't pick and choose. This is your livelihood. Peg has some shit she has to do all the time that she doesn't want to do, and I have some stuff that I have to do all the time that I don't want to do.
Right.
But if I'm stronger at it, I'm going to do it. If she's stronger, she's going to do it.
Yes. And we have to come together on some things that we're not sure on, and talk it out and see what's the best thing.
And the other thing too, I see this a lot, especially when we're doing like business networking stuff. Just because you co-own a company together does not mean everything is always going to be 50-50.
Oh, right.
And so a lot of people get hung up on that, where they're like, it's not fair. I'm doing all this and you're only doing these things. It's never going to be 50-50.
No.
You don't want it to be 50-50 anyway. Because 50-50 only makes 100%. I want you, and this is just for us. It doesn't really apply to anybody else unless you want it. I only want you at 50 to 75% because I normally operate at 125 to 150%.
Right.
But you also know when to pull me back, because you know I'll work until I'm in the hospital.
Right.
Or I get sick and end up in the hospital. So you know when to pull me back. So even if you're at 50% or 75 and you have to step up to 100 and I got pulled down, we're still, as a power team, we're still in the 175 to 200% mode.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Well, and I think because we have shared goals, and we talk about those shared goals a lot, and we're on the same page about a lot of things.
But people get hung up on that, like, well, there's two of us, so we don't have to go as hard. And it's like, no, you still have to go hard, because at the end of the day, if you're doing 50-50, that's only 100%. You're not getting anywhere. You're not getting ahead of any of your competition.
Right.
We need to be operating as high to 200% as we possibly can, for as long as we can, depending on a certain goal.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people or couples, even just both having full-time jobs, have a hard time. Like, let's say the wife does all the cooking and the cleaning, and the husband just comes home from work and does nothing. So I feel like the woman should tell the husband, I need help. I need you to do these things. But a lot of times and I'm not saying it's just the women, it's the men too sometimes, because sometimes the men do all the cooking and the laundry and work full time. That they need to communicate and say, hey, I need some help doing things, and I shouldn't be expected to do everything at home.
Right. It depends. It depends on what you were raised as, what your idea of a traditional relationship should look like.
Well, I will,
because you're about to open Pandora's box. No, not with me. I just mean in general. Because the general counter to that is, well, when someone breaks into the house, I'm not going to expect you to get up and handle it. I'm going to get up and handle it.
I don't want to get up and handle it.
So make the man dinner.
Right. I feel that way.
That's generally where the argument will go.
Like my age group and a little bit younger, they were brought up to be strong, independent women. And so therefore they expected the husbands to do 50% of the stuff that they do. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy cleaning. I enjoy doing the laundry.
Right.
Because I know that I feel like for us that I do those things and you do the things for the business that I really don't want to do.
Right. No,
it's
give and take.
Completely fine. Yes.
Yeah, and I think every couple I don't think there's a right or wrong there. No. I think every couple or marriage needs to figure out what that is, because there's an argument to be made for all of it.
Well, there was a time when you did all the cooking and you did all the cleaning.
Right.
And I was running a department at the hospital, and you knew I couldn't do both things or even half the things that you were doing at home.
Right.
For me to succeed at my job.
Right. But I mean, just in the overall like social construct of a marriage nowadays, it can all be folded back or blamed. I personally believe the whole like women's lib was the biggest trick ever pulled on women.
Well, yeah, a lot of women, I feel like, are thinking, I would love to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, most women do not know that was entirely done because the IRS was only collecting 50% tax.
Yeah.
They're like, how can we tax the other 50%? Let's get women working. Not to say that women shouldn't work. I don't think there's a right or wrong. You know what I mean?
Right. If that's what they want to do, they should be able to do that.
But then it also created where we are now, which is a really sad place. Have you ever heard the quote, I hate it because it gets used so much. It's like, hard times create strong men create good times, good men, or good times create weak men. Yeah, there's actually a counter to that too. Strong women create a society of weak men. So it's counterproductive, really. And that's why I said you can't really argue it, because at any point you could blame somebody or blame a side.
Yeah, and I think it's all individualized.
Right.
Like, if my friends want to stay home and take care of the babies and do everything, then, more power to you. If you want to go to the corporate life and be all that you can be, then more power to you.
Right. And don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, I think it will, I don't think it is. It will always be men's fault. Because if men hadn't stepped out of a dominant role, then we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of...
most men are submissive men.
There's a lot of men nowadays that are not masculine.
Right.
And, there's science behind that, but there's also a lot of things that go into that.
Yeah. Which is
a whole nother podcast.
We could do a podcast. Yeah. That would be spicy.
Yeah. We would have to have more people than you and I.
Oh, that would be a good 4-person.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I'm ready to sit down.
Okay.
4 people piss off everyone. Do you have any more? You have another one?
No. I was just looking at our shared goals as a couple, that we strive to be a model couple. We like when people say that, we're a good couple.
We're a good couple. What does that mean?
That we get along and that we like spending time together. And I mean, it portrays, it's not like we're fighting, in front of people, which we would never do. But, there are couples that get
I'm sure it'll happen at one point.
Well, I hope not. Get in disagreements in front of other people. But we like to help others. We like to see people do good. Question.
I have. How do you handle criticism in your lives?
Well,
is that individually or as a couple?
I mean, all my friends know that I like my husband. I like spending time with him.
Yeah, I don't live in some faraway, distant planet. I know people criticize me. They just don't do it to me. So I don't really care.
I mean, individually, if they criticize me, it depends on what they're criticizing me on.
I mean, mostly it's like social media.
Usually I ignore those type of people because it's a waste of my time. And I don't feel like I have to defend myself for anything that I do, the choices that I make, because I always try to make good choices. And, not everybody's going to agree with that.
No, but that's also too, like, you get, not mad. It's been a topic of conversation. Not lately, just in general. Yeah. It has been at certain points. Like I keep a very small circle.
Yes.
Like it's so small I kick my own self out sometimes. But I don't have those kind of people. I don't have negative people in my life because I've told you, I'm like, hey, we're not going to dinner with them.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of your friends, I'm like, no, like you can go, but I'm not going to go. I don't want to be around. And that doesn't make him a bad person.
No.
It's just I don't want negative. I definitely don't want negative people in my life, and I don't want drama.
Ditto. Yeah. I don't like drama. I mean, everybody has a little bit of drama in their life, but it's what you do with the drama, I think. And I just don't deal with drama. I'll ignore it. I'll unfriend somebody before they make me a negative person. Right. Because, like in nursing, for example, it's really easy to be negative when you're short-staffed and your coworkers aren't doing what you think they should be doing. It's really easy to get caught up in that negativity.
Yeah.
But I always either ask them if they need help or, try to spin it in a positive way.
Right.
And if they don't take my help, that's fine, but I'm not going to let their negativity rub off on me. Right. Because I love my job, nursing, and everywhere you go, they're short-staffed.
Which is actually really good verbal judo, by the way. Like somebody that's being negative or drama, if you come back at them positive, it overrides their brain. Like, yeah, they don't know what to do.
They don't know what to say or do. Right.
Yeah. But one, I don't really fucking care what other people think. And generally, people are I've never been criticized by somebody that's doing better than me.
Right.
With the exception of if it's like one of my or our mentors. If they pull us aside, pull me or pull you aside, and they're like, hey, but it's not criticism. It's constructive criticism. Like they're trying to guide you to the right way of handling something or coming to a better decision process or whatever it is they're working on at the time.
Right. And sometimes they recognize things that we don't.
Right.
So as far as social media criticism, yeah, I don't, if I get it from somebody like a troll, I just totally ignore them or I block them because I'm not going to get in that vicious cycle.
I mean, trolling fun, but it's only when you're in the mood for it.
I mean, I had some guy just recently say something about how long it took me to get set up for my deadlift. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, I was deadlifting 385, and I'm sure you either weigh more than 385.
Yeah.
And I know you can't deadlift as much as me. Like you said, people that are not doing better than you.
No, I agree. And also, that's how bad our society's got.
Yeah.
To where somebody needs to make a negative comment on social media to feel better about themselves.
And a guy to a woman.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
Well, that's what I mean. That's how bad it's gotten as far as having value and actually walking this planet as a validated being. Which is unfortunate, because I do believe everybody's unique and they have something that they bring to the world that no one else has.
Definitely.
But because of the way that we live, I mean, first world, everything's easy. Nobody goes through that much adversity to find or to even challenge them, that they're so bored and they have such little self-worth that saying something stupid on social media actually makes them feel better about themselves for that 15-second dopamine hit.
Right.
But the other thing too is our goals are so big. I don't.
Right.
Like
that is bro. That's like a passing fart.
Yeah.
Their criticism is a passing fart.
Yeah, and it's, I kind of trolled this guy the other day, and then Facebook took all the comments away. But people will give me, like, grammar Nazis will hit me up. And it's like, one, I'm doing so much, I'm not going to sit there and proofread it a bunch of times. Like, it's...
Who has time for that?
Yeah, I have to move on. Like, I only have...
If it doesn't autocorrect, I'm moving on.
And they're like, oh, you look stupid. I'm like, bro, like, it's not even worth me going into time to tell whatever that person is that I had to relearn how to spell and write and read.
Right.
So
because they don't know your story.
Yeah, but they don't deserve it either. Like, no. I don't care. Like, I'm not even going to slow down to even tell you that. Like, okay, if you think I'm an idiot, then I'm an idiot.
Yeah, unfortunately,
and that's where a lot of people get hung up, though.
Yeah.
Is they don't want to do something outwardly until it's perfect, but that will never happen. And that's why I don't think a lot of people ever get to find out what their passion is or to find out their purpose in this world, is because they're so worried about being perfect that they never actually take a step forward.
Right. They're too scared.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, everyone is so into themselves too much to even freaking care. Yeah, they might notice, but 10 minutes later, they've moved on to something else.
Right.
They just...
And if they haven't, they need to find something to do with their lives.
I agree, but it's how do we get people to not settle for an average life?
Well, I think nowadays
that's what's frustrating.
Well, I think COVID...
It's frustrating for me.
Yeah. Has hurt a lot of people. As far as that aspect goes.
Like the locking down.
Yes.
Not having to
get dressed,
work and have social skills. Yeah.
Right.
Interact with other humans.
Yes.
Which is pretty freaking vital.
Right.
You look at anybody that's been isolated or been in confinement. It's not a good mental health picture.
No. Everybody needs people, but they don't need negative people in their lives. They should get rid of negative people.
But I think too, like, if some COVID taught us another thing, it's like, what did the divorce rate go up during COVID? This is something crazy.
I think it was something crazy.
But I think that ties in. Most people are so bored. They think they're busy, but they're not.
Right.
They're so bored that they actually start picking at each other. Like people in relationships, they start picking at each other. And they start annoying each other to the point of codependency, which is counterproductive to their relationship. Like, I mean, it's going downhill fast. Like nobody can be happy in that type of environment.
Right. And I feel like that couples negative talk to each other is very detrimental to their relationship.
Agreed.
And name calling, we don't do that.
No, we've never done that.
No. But I know couples that do that, and it really makes me uncomfortable. Because I have been in a relationship that had name calling, and when you're caught up in that, you're not thinking about what's going on around you or who's hearing it.
Right.
And it's just it's not productive. And what is the point of being with that person if you feel all these negative things about them?
No, I agree. And that's why I hate when people, they misuse the word fight. They're like, oh, we got into a fight. It's like, no, you need to look up the definition of a fight. You got an argument.
Yeah, not a fight.
You know, a fight is a physical, violent altercation. And like words have meaning. Like,
yes.
They're like, oh, well, you know what I meant. And it's like, no, but your brain doesn't. Your brain is making out to be a bigger deal than what it was.
Yeah.
Saying we had an argument last night is a whole different thing than saying we had a fight last night.
Did we just go off the question?
Yeah, we're just organic now. We just flowed off of a
Any other good questions?
Yeah, this could be potentially spicy. Is marriage a business deal?
I think that marriage is a business deal. Whether there's money involved. I mean, I do know couples that keep all their financials separate, and that's fine. It works for them. But you still have marital property.
Right.
And so that to me makes it a business.
Yeah. Managing a household, that's a business term.
Yes.
But if you're going to pick your partner in life, that literally you're picking your partner, your financial partner, your partner to hit your goals with, your spiritual partner, your like partner is partner.
Yes.
And it's very much a business deal, I think. I don't think you could argue that it's not. I think most people have just been propagandized into believing it's some other kind of fairy tale bullshit.
Right.
And they don't really understand what other aspects of a marriage is that everyone doesn't see or we don't talk about anymore. So, and then I always get people that argue that it's not a business deal and it's fucked up. But then I'll ask them. So I do this to like I do it to some of the high school boys when they come to me with certain stuff.
Yeah.
And they almost always have a girlfriend. But I'll ask them like, "What do you want to have kids?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, tell me what your kids look like." And they'll go, "I got 2 boys and a daughter. The boys are good at baseball, but then I start getting strict with them. I'm like, okay, what color hair do they have? They got like brown hair. Okay. And tell me about your daughter. What's your daughter look like? Well, she's gonna be tall, because she's gonna be a good basketball player. Yada 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 yada. You know, I'll ask them a bunch of questions that really narrow it down. And then I said, okay, now describe to me what your perfect wife looks like. And they describe someone opposite of the genetics that they want in kids. And it's such a simple exercise, and some people's brains can't handle it. Like they literally kind of shut down. because I do it way more potent than what we're doing it right now.
Right.
And the whole point of it is to say, look, if this is your goal, then you have to make certain decisions ahead of time if that is your end result. If I want to be worth $100 million by the time I'm 50, I have to do certain things now,
right,
to hit that goal. And the same could be said for marriages.
Yeah. Kids aren't taught that in school.
Actually, nobody's ever been taught that.
No, I wasn't taught that.
I've never heard it. To me, that's a Randy original. I'm sure I'm not the first person to ever think that, but I'll claim it since it doesn't have a. But no, and it's a very simple but raw in your face. You do have to make certain decisions, and ultimately, what relationship are you going to be happier with more?
Right.
The one that didn't give you, the one that looked like this but didn't give you what you wanted, or the one that looked like this but did give you what you wanted?
Right.
Which one are you more likely to love and have a relationship with when you're old and wrinkly and ugly?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's like, women have standards for, and men too, have standards for the woman they want to marry. But
I don't think most people do.
You know?
I think they have physical standards, but I don't think they have actual like characteristics or like actual intrinsic values.
No, I think it's all
like I've never
mostly physical
in my life had a woman ask me what my moral compass was. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like where my integrity is, any of that. So yeah, it's okay to have the physical things, but that's not always going to get you to your goal.
Right. No, I think that's.
And if you want your kids to be smart, you can't marry no dumb hoe. and you can't marry some freaking potato head meathead either. Like, I'm gonna say meathead because I'm a meathead.
Right. I mean, I think that with a relationship, you have to be able to like that person and spend time with them, and that person, for me, has to be able to have good conversation.
Agreed.
When I was younger,
actually getting ready to bring that up.
I didn't care if they had good conversation because, I really wasn't looking for that.
Right.
And my thought process of a marriage is totally different now than it was when I was younger. Yeah.
And like boys aren't taught, because there's nobody to teach to them, or there's nobody in their life that can teach to them.
Or I don't think they can't. It's they don't maybe
know.
Think about it.
No, they don't know to.
Right.
Because they don't have a certain man or woman in their life that knows these things that can relay it down. So for boys, it's like, if you want a high value woman, you have to be smart enough to stimulate her brain. Like, you can't.
Right. You have to be a high value man.
I thought that was a given. But,
no, it's not always a given.
I don't know any. I'm sure there is, but I don't know any high value women that are married to a low value man.
Well, it does happen. I've seen it, and they end up divorced.
Mm-hmm.
But it does happen, and I think they need to have more conversations with their kids about that as they get older, if the kids are thinking about getting married.
Yeah. I mean, which hopefully.
Yeah.
But that's kind of going away in society. Actually, it's going away all over the world. But no, and the reason I use the whole, like, what do your kids look like? And then describe me what girl turns you on, and they're always the opposite, is a quote by William Penn, and I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not going to get it right. But
okay.
It's, which William Penn was a Quaker back in the original days of, actually before we founded our country. Anyway, he had a quote that said, most men care more about the breed of their horses and dogs than they do of their own children. And I'm paraphrasing. He said it more Quakerish. And his point wasn't to like be a racial asshole or anything like that. his point was men should care about those things. Because at some point we don't care about our family bloodlines anymore.
Right.
And I'm not saying that should be the only thing we care about. I'm just saying the type of person that you choose to mate with should be aligned with your goals.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm probably going to get some shit for saying that.
Well, I mean, sometimes, like I said.
But I don't care.
Like I said, when I was younger, I had a different mate that I was looking for or that I had. But as I got older, I wanted something different because that did not satisfy me.
Right.
And I wasn't happy. But, you know, with you, my relationship is totally different than any relationships I've had with men.
Right.
And it's because I feel like that I expected more. And like I said, we have good conversation. We have good goal. We have the same goals. Mm-hmm. But when you're younger, you don't think about that.
No. And I mean, we all made that mistake, or we all were there at one point.
Yeah, I think everybody's been there. And even if your parents told you, like, that person's not good for you,
yeah,
you're not going to listen. People don't listen to their parents. They listen to their friends more than they do their parents.
Yeah, which is, yeah, I agree. But nobody listens to parents. We always have pushed that as a society. Well, I don't want to say we always pushed it as a society. In my lifetime, we've always pushed that. But your children do not listen to what you say. They watch what you do.
They watch what you do, yeah.
And I don't know why we still go around saying that. It's not true at all. If that were true, then all leaders would have to do is say some bullshit.
Right.
But no, to be a good leader, you have to lead from the front by your actions, not by saying cool lines.
Right.
Or bossing people around.
And that's what I feel like for us, this business, we're very passionate about because we care about our own health, our own physical abilities. I like pushing my body.
Right.
And I love the benefits of exercising,
yeah,
and lifting weights. And I think that everybody should find something that they love and they're going to be successful at it. Not love what you do, but what words am I trying to find?
Are you talking about passion?
I'm talking about I don't really know what I'm talking about now.
Everyone should, I think you're trying to say everyone should find something.
Yes.
It's theirs.
That's theirs.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Whether your strength journey is just beginning or decades in the making, keep those weights heavy, your goals in sight, and always stay committed to becoming the best version of yourself. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay strong and be inspired.